Hey guys, so today I want to talk about a few things that I think would improve Genshin. From playtime, engagement, enjoyment, sense of accomplishment, convenience, and even just quality of life. This isn't my normal type of video, however, with the potential that it could reach the ears and minds of the creators, then why not put it out there? So anyway, let's just get started. So let's start off simple with the foods. So our consumables menu, at least mine, is a mess. So if I could specifically favorite which things I want, it's putting them at the top of the list or something like that. That would make it so much more easier for me to find what I'm looking for when I'm looking for it, instead of my friends running off to fight a boss while I'm looking for the right buff to give myself and they die, or I die because they aggro stuff before I'm ready. This is kind of annoying, but it would make it easier if we can just favorite stuff so we can find it faster. Next, let's just discuss birthdays real quick. Why is anyone giving me gifts on their birthday? That just makes no sense to me. I'm sorry if someone's culture is like that in the world and I'm just not cultured enough, then I'm sorry, but that's just so strange to me. If that's not the case anywhere in the world, then maybe it shouldn't be like that in Genshin either. And perhaps us making her special dish for her on her birthday would make more logical sense. And maybe we can have some small interaction with her where she will have some new voice lines or whatever on her birthday. And the same thing for each and every other character. I think that would be more enjoyable that on their birthday we have to go visit them and give them something and hang out with them for a bit. Even if it's just a voice line or two, I think that would be really cool. And if anyone's opposing because they feel like they would miss out on all those special dishes they would get from every character on their birthday, then perhaps it would make more sense that on our birthday, maybe all the people we've befriended so far gift us their special dish on our birthday, not on theirs. I think that would make a lot more sense. And onto the topic of our birthday, I think that the birthday cake that we get each year should be turned into a display item for our teapot. I think that would be really cool and allows us to show off how long we've been playing or how many birthdays we had in the game and stuff like that to our friends. I think that just adds such a nice touch to our life in Genshin. I would really like that a lot. On the topic of food decor, yes, I want all of the food as decoration, but if you don't want to do that Genshin, that's understandable. That's a lot of little things you have to make. But I would say it would be really cool if we made a certain item a certain amount of time, then maybe we unlock it as a teapot item for an achievement. You've made scrambled eggs 1,000 times. Here, you obviously like this, here, have it as a teapot display item. I think that would be cool, and it will help decorate the teapot for people that care about the teapot, which I do. I think that would look really cool to have the items that I constantly make every day and consume every day. I think that would look really cool if that is a part of my house, because it adds the touch of my gameplay to my house. Also, a weird note, but perhaps when we're playing co-op, you allow us to trade food with our friends that perhaps they can't make this food because they don't have the right character to make this special dish, or perhaps they just don't have the right material at the moment to make this dish. It would make it easier if we could just either trade with them and give them whatever dish we want, or just cram it in their mouth, if they allow us to. Maybe put a checklist allow other players to feed you or not, because that could be annoying. Another thing on the food topic, I think the NRE should have more slots, or add another item like it, which would allow us to put other buffing foods or consumables in it. That way we don't have to sort through our bag looking for exactly what buff we need before our friends run up to a boss and get themselves killed because we're not ready or whatever. It would just make it more efficient. As for other games I've played throughout my entire life, they not only show you what buffs you have on you, but what those buffs are actually doing and where they come from. Show me the stats. And Genshin doesn't really do that. You have to open your menu and go bend over backwards in the middle of boss fights to look through your stats and see what changed, if you could even figure out what changed. It's so unnecessary, especially for a new player that doesn't know. Let us scroll over what those buffs are and where they're coming from, what they're doing. It would just make it so much easier. So moving on from buffs and consumables and stuff, one thing that I think would improve Genshin is having animation. So if my friends are in the world, I can wave at them, or wave my fist at them, or stick my tongue out, or I don't know, silly little animations, maybe a dance, maybe a flirt or something. Even a sneaking around button, and I know like that may seem useless to like most people, but for like content creation, having these things would make the quality of our videos so much better, because then we can control what we're trying to portray correctly, as well as just you engaging with your friends. It's more immersive, it's more natural. Instead of like looking in the text to see how they're reacting, like you could just see it right there. Like they pressed it right there. They're annoyed by you, or they're excited for you, or whatever the heck, or they're flirting with you. Like I think that would add an extra social layer that I think the game really lacks. Standing in front of a blank person that's not really giving you any emotion is a bit weird. But if they actually are expressing emotion and doing little animations or whatever, I think that would be a lot better. Another thing that would be very useful for us content creators is like allow us to replay the cutscenes throughout the whole game. All of the cutscenes that we've ever unlocked, allow us to rewatch those, not just to relive those events, but to like get a recap and remember what happened. Like the game's like going on 4 years now. There's stuff that I completely forgot about. Like allow us to go back and refresh our memories, or for us to show off to our friends that are like, oh, what's Genshin all about this? Look at how cool this is. Look at these cutscenes. Look at this story. Like I want to cry so many times thinking about like Nahida's story or stuff like that. Or even Kachina's new story. Like emotionally, it is impactful. You guys are very good storytellers. You guys pull on my heartstrings almost all of the time. Allow us to revisit those cutscenes, please. It makes it so much easier to make videos, so I don't have to like make a new account to rewatch those cutscenes just to record them. Or like if I wanted to just rewatch it to remember what happened or to relive it, like I have to go watch somebody else's YouTube. Not that there's something wrong with that, but it will make so much easier if I could just do it from my game. If I could just do it from the menu and replay videos. Also, another thing about this, like the alternative to that is like I would have to record every single thing I do in Genshin. When I don't know when a cutscene's coming, I just have to record the whole time and then sort through all of that unnecessary stuff, looking for the specific cutscene I want to then edit. Like, oh my god, that's so much. There is so much data taken up in my computer. My old computer exploded for a reason, guys. Like, please, Genshin, allow replayable cutscenes. Another thing about talking about reliving the past, you should put the old event items throughout the whole game's life in the store, in the shop. But so people don't get mad and like, but I played this event, I earned this, and you're just going to like get it for free or whatever. No, if we missed it, that's our fault because we didn't play, or like we couldn't play or whatever. Like me personally, my computer blew up at one point in the summer. I couldn't play, so I missed like Clee's little summer event thing, and I don't have any of the stuff from that. But I wish I did. As simple, and like maybe you don't care about those things, but I wish I had them. Like honestly, I would pay for them. So my point is like, if we care enough about them, but we miss them, have us pay some primos for it. Just have it in the store, like the wishes and weapons and stuff like that. Have us pay for it. That way everyone's happy. Like the people that earned it, they don't have anything to complain about, because we had to earn it too by paying for it with primos. But then the ones of us that missed it, we're just not like, damn, I'm never gonna be able to get that. This sucks. At least now they have an alternative to get it, even if they missed it. So next, this one might seem controversial, but it shouldn't be 21, and it is that we should have darker skin complexions. If you want like Dia to be darker skin tone or Candace to be darker skin tone, because they're from the desert, that's like, you know, they're supposed to be like Egypt and perhaps things like Persian, Indian, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure everyone thinks that like these characters should have a darker skin tone, but they have like a light tan skin tone, which doesn't really make logical sense. Those type of skin tones that they currently have should be the kind of skin tones that like the people in Natlan should have. So therefore, like I said in my Is Genshin Racist video, or are we, like I said in that video, perhaps make like second skins for the characters that should be darker skin tone, and just make them darker skin tone. Like the people that don't want it active and they just like want all white characters, have your game like that. You don't have to have it active. But for those of us that do want the correct kind of representation for these characters, allow us to play those characters that way. That way it's like win-win situation, and it doesn't take much time to make these adjustments. While on the topic of character skins, I think inevitably every single character in the game should get a skin from every single region in the game, counting the Apple Archipelago, you know, summertime, summer skins. I think that'd be really cool if every single character had so many options And I know not every single person in the world is going to get every single outfit for every single character. That's crazy talk. But if someone's your absolute favorite character, I bet you they're going to try to get every single outfit for that specific character. All of us with Genshin, that would increase your profit by like so much to add so many skins like that. Even if we don't all get every single outfit, we'll still probably buy a lot of them for our favorite character. I know this is definitely not a thing that can transpire overnight, but this should definitely be a thing that you try to accomplish over time. So one thing I feel that Genshin lacks, but I'm kind of contradicting myself, is holiday events. But I know Genshin has their own holiday events and they do their own thing all the time. There's always new events. But what I'm saying is, like, in other games, other MMOs I've played in my life, even my friends, even my mom playing something like Animal Crossing, it's exciting for her to, like, when the season change and like the land changes itself, the world seems to have changed and there's new decorations for this new season everywhere. Like, that is in itself is exciting. And I just play certain games that I don't even want to play, but it's like I play them because I'm like, I want to see, what did you do? What has changed? What's different? Like, I want to take part and celebrate in this event. And sure, you do that for Lantern, right? That's great. And like Windbloom, that's great. But that's not all the times. Like, every month there could be something. Like, now that we have Natlan, you could do like Dia de la Muerte, which I always had expected. For some reason, since the moment I started playing and I saw Hu Tao, I was like, oh, like she would be so perfect for like Halloween event. And then Halloween rolled around, I'm like, oh, there is no Halloween in Genshin. But like, she would look so cool in like Dia de la Muerte face paint and stuff like that. I could see her totally getting into that holiday and celebrating it. But even culture-wise, since Genshin is mimicking this culture, this is part of that culture. You could still do it. You could still have a Dia de la Muerte type of holiday in Genshin. This is the place. This is the time. Come on, Genshin. Like, you're probably gonna miss it this year, so that's gonna be disappointing. But like, for future reference, please add things like Dia de la Muerte, a type of Halloween type of event, maybe to Natlan specifically, but that would be so exciting. As well as for like Shesnaya, like you could make a winter event, like winter solstice or Christmas or something similar. I think a lot of people would enjoy celebrating a Christmas type of event in the game. And even if like for the event we could like gift our friends and receive gifts from our friends, I think that would be really exciting and really cool. One cool thing I think you could really implement with the holidays is like the introduction of like something like hats. Normally in other games you could wear like some type of cosmetic that alters your appearance, some kind of costume or like weapon skin. So we can either have to like earn through the event or like purchase cosmetic hats for the main character, like, I don't know, like a little witch hat or a Santa Claus hat or something like that. For instance, like how we wore like the flower crown on the main character, or we had like the Kitsune hat when we had a day with Ayaka and stuff like that. Things like this I think are really cool. They're not really changing the aesthetics of the main character, nor are they changing the outfit, because I know you want us to stay in the original outfits, but this is like adding on to the outfit kind of thing. Kind of like how in the summer event Navia had like a crown, like that kind of blew my mind, how different she looked with just a crown on her head instead of her hat. I think that would be so cool if like not every character in the game, because I know that would probably be difficult, but like at least the main character and Paimon, because I felt so bad for her throughout the quest when she couldn't like wear the flower crown or she couldn't wear the Kitsune mask on her head. I felt so bad for her. I was just like, here Paimon, take mine, please. Like, I feel so bad for her sometimes. Like, please just give her stuff. Let her be happy. She's like a little bean, for crying out loud. But if we could have like specific hats for us and Paimon, like crown, pirate hat, a Christmas hat, a little witch hat, stuff like that, depending on the season or what you want to put in the store or whatever the heck you just want to give us. I think that would be a nice, fun touch to the game that will give us some uniqueness. It'll also make it sillier, like when us content creators are making videos or little shorts or whatever. Like, it's so silly to like have us with like a pirate hat or a Christmas hat or whatever the heck. I just don't see who wouldn't want this. Like, specifically for the holidays, but like normal ones too, I think would be cool. Another thing is like perhaps adding more to the things you already have in the game. For instance, you have fishing, but perhaps if you added more to the fishing, like maybe there are really rare and unique type of fish that only spawn once in the blue or something like that. And perhaps if we did more with the fish and insects and art and stuff like that, like maybe something like Animal Crossing's museum where we have to like turn in our fish and our insects and our paintings and even the rare ones to complete the exhibits or whatever, that would give us something extra to do. That's not even what Genshin's about. That would give us so much extra things to do that would keep our engagement and our attention and even our sense of accomplishment. Or even like when our friends come to visit and they're like, wow, like Jesus Christ, you maxed this place out, like you fish way too much, my guy. like that kind of stuff I just think would be fun. And the people that wouldn't care about this, like, you don't have to do it then. But like the people that care, or they just want something extra to do, there you go. There's some more stuff added to the game that's not really adding a new system, because fishing, bug catching, and collecting the art from like taking pictures of it, this already exists in the game. It'll just give us a more purposeful reason to do it. Another big thing I think you should add to Genshin is like a romance system. Unless, however, I am correct in my theory about like who the main character is in narcissism and the fact that they already have a soulmate. Like if I'm wrong about that, or if you're taking an alternative route and you're saying like they don't have one or we're not connected like that, okay, then if that's the case, please allow us to have a romance system. And I'm not saying to turn Genshin to like a dating simulator. I think it would be cool if you add that extra layer to the game. For instance, let's say you romance Ayaka or something like that. Then it would be like she addresses you differently. She has different voice lines, and when she joins your team, she'll say a different dialogue. If you fall in battle, she'll say a different dialogue. Maybe she's a little bit more flirty, a little bit more nicer with you. Like, I know everyone's already flirty with you, but I'm saying like it's different. It's a higher level kind of thing. It's a little bit more intimate kind of thing, the way that these characters would be addressing you and stuff like that. It'll also be cool if like when they're in your party, you get some kind of additional benefit, like some kind of small buff or something. But I think like these little details would add so much more to the game. However, I think that like you should only be able to romance one person, because if you're just able to romance multiple people, then it's like no different from normal Genshin where like everyone's super flirty with you. So I think it should be like if you're already paired with somebody and you start to get too flirty with someone else, that other person would, maybe they're not gonna hate you, maybe they'll just be like, all right, we're just friends then. But they are not gonna treat you in a romantic sense anymore. You can only have one person at a time. I think that'll be cool. And also obviously the little munchkins are uneligible for this, obviously. When I first started to play Genshin, one of my biggest disappointments was that I can't really do much with my friends, and the whole point of me playing in the first place was to play with my friends. So it kinda made no sense. Like I expected to go like dungeon diving and raiding and exploring the world and like completing all the quests with my friends and stuff like that, but I can't really do a lot of that. The most I could do is, yes, I could roam around my friends and explore the world and find chests, but for most people, I think it's kind of like you just farm artifact domains and stuff like that. You fight the bosses with your friends, and that's pretty much it. Like you don't really hang out, you don't really play together too much. That I feel is greatly lacking. So there's a lot of ways this can be improved, and all you have to do is like look at other games that are kind of successful with this. I think some people want or expect some kind of like fighting PvP system in Genshin one day, but it's like that's not really the work in Genshin, unlike games like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or Soul Calibur, because there's not many moves in Genshin. Like what are you gonna do? If it's one-on-one, what are you gonna do? Spam your one auto attack over and over and over, or your burst? Like that is not gonna be fun. It's gonna look bad. Even if it's one player versus one player in team battles, then you're just cycling through your rotations. It's still spamming the same stuff. It's still cheesing. It'll be boring. It's not gonna look impressive. But that doesn't mean that there's nothing then we can do. For instance, if you expand upon the like similar little battling pets, you can make some kind of whole system out of that. Pokemon was successful. Or for instance, even if you don't want to do something like that, you could have like that we build specific little robots and like we assemble them specific ways to give us certain moves, certain attacks, certain stats or whatever, and they'll look differently, and each of us will have a unique type of little battle bot, and then with those battle bots we go into the arena and fight with it. I think that would be more successful. That would be more enjoyable. That's something we could keep doing. But I think if we're fighting with characters against each other, that's gonna get really annoying to a lot of people really fast, especially to new people that they only have a handful of characters compared to like the people that have the absolute strongest characters in the game, maxed out to like C6 with a R5 weapon, like, and god artifacts. Like this is not gonna be enjoyable. Even for the people that have that character, it's not going to be fun. You want a challenge. Also, in games like Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where it's like the replayability in that game is kind of like, sure, you could try to complete all the races and try to get a higher score and stuff like that, but to me, it's like the little thing that kept me coming back is like to raise my childs, which are like these little creatures. You could evolve them and train them certain ways, and they'll grow and they'll learn things, and each of them could look very different from one another, kind of thing, depending on how you raise them. And then you could compete with them, like have little races or have little battles or all kind of little weird things they do. It looks like Genshin is lightly touching on something like this with like the little dinosaurs from Natlan, but you could expand upon that. Like imagine if in our teapot we're raising little creatures, and it's not just they're there bouncing around being silly. Like, no, you're increasing their stats, you're teaching them things, and maybe there's little mini games for you to play or compete against with your friends or with other people online. And like how you raise your little pet is giving you specific stats for specific things that might make them better in this way or that way. I don't know, but that alone for like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 kept me playing to like make the perfect little chaos chow or stuff like that. And that's not even what the game's about. The game's like racing and exploring and stuff, but that also did consume a lot of my time, even though it had nothing to do with the game. And as for other things that players can do with players, and like this would keep people coming back to the game and playing, it's like, think about other games that like they just play these games for the specific thing. For instance, like go-kart racing, like having something like that in Genshin is like, we could just keep playing that just for that. And it's like, we forgot Genshin was Genshin. We're just like racing around with Nahida in a little cart or something. Like how silly is that? But it will keep us entertained and it will keep us busy with our friends and stuff like that. Perhaps it won't just be, you know, us versus 3 other characters, but maybe it'll be like a race of 8 people or a race of 16 people or something like that. But there's a lot of fun little games that you could add over time that we could play with other players. Like I said, like kart racing or King of the Hill or Capture the Flag or something like Among Us. Like there's games that you're playing these silly little games just to play this game, and it's repetitive and it's simple, but it's like, this is what these whole games are about, and it's like that keeps people playing it and then come back to do it again tomorrow. Next, when I first realized what the Pyrovision was about, for some reason my mind thought that Natlan was either going to be like at war with Shasnaya or warring tribes within Natlan itself. I did not expect it to be the Abyss, but either way, it's like I expected full-blown like Dynasty Warrior type of warfare, which so far is not the case. But ever since I realized that, I was excited just to get to Natlan, to see this war, to partake in this war, to have like Dynasty Warrior type battles with Genshin characters and my friends. I thought that would be so fun. Even though it never actually transpired, I miss the idea of it being possible in Genshin now. But just the idea of it is like so enticing to me. Like maybe the seals that bind them are weakening, and somehow the Abyss is starting to leak through and attack certain places in droves. Like imagine armies of Abyss soldiers or creatures pouring through different places and attacking them, and like we have to fight them back constantly, and with our friends as well. Like that'll be so fun. Like you have no idea how fun Dynasty Warriors is unless you played it. And I played each game for like years and years with like my cousin and my little brother, and it's like we never got bored of it. It's like, sure, it's mindless just fighting hundreds and hundreds of soldiers to take over territory, but it's like it's so fun and relaxing at the same time, and like it's so fitting for Genshin, and like even lore-wise it would make sense to do this, but perhaps not every system could handle this many enemies on screen. Another thing that Genshin could do to make the game go on and on and on, to keep us fully engaged and stimulated every day, is like allow us to help you make domains. Like perhaps open up player domains. So I'm not talking about so simple as we choose a platform and we pick specific monsters, and then whatever players choose to go to our domain, go in there fight. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about allow us to build like full-scale dungeons. Like some of the first dungeons in Genshin, they were so exciting to like go down there and explore these ruins and these traps and get through these monsters and obstacles. That is what I expected from every single domain in Genshin. That is what I'm asking for. Allow us to make these, all of us, and like upload it online, and like anyone could just choose to go in our domain and explore it and play it. And I know that there was a system like this once upon a time. I've heard my friends talk about it, but I'm talking about like whatever whatever scale you had it up to, I want that cranked up to like 1,000. Like I want more there. I want us to be able to build more elaborate, more crazy, more dangerous, more difficult dungeons than you guys could have ever done in Genshin. That's what I want. And like that would keep us so engaged, not just playing everybody's weird dungeons that they create, but like making our own. Like this will occupy so much of our time. This would add so much more excitement to the game. Another thing that you could like add to the game or change about the game is tower mode. So the Abyss is kind of like this, but the Abyss caps off at like floor 12. What I'm saying is like tower mode is like endless. Like it's not going to 13 or 20. It's like infinite, an infinite number, and it infinitely keeps getting more difficult to the point where it's like unpassable. Like you're not going to progress any further. But if you manage to, there are more floors. It's never going to end. It's just capped by your skill or your knowledge or maybe even your luck. And that will determine how much more you can progress. That I think is what a lot of people have been waiting for and expecting Genshin, a tower mode, which you can easily turn the Abyss into. I know what your concern may be is like, are you just infinitely expecting to get primos for each floor or whatever, or for a certain amount of floors? No, I'm not saying that. My idea for the reward is also the answer for another problem. So let me explain that first. So everyone I've ever known that has ever even touched Genshin, their biggest problem with Genshin is the resin. Because like the days that they just want to like play Genshin all day, they can't because they're locked by resin. So they can't just continuously do what they want to do. If you've already done all your quests and you're out of resin, there's just nothing. There's nothing you can do. And it's like, that is boring. That's why we leave. That's why we lock out. And it's like some people, they want to continue to play, but there's nothing else they can do. So like I'm saying, that problem is a resin problem. If resin didn't exist, that problem will go away. So let's say you don't want to get rid of resin, right? Why don't you give us another option instead of just like, you want to play more? Buy more resin. That is horrible. That is a horrible way of going about things. Perhaps allow us to earn resin by doing certain things. Like I said earlier, the reward inside of the like player made dungeons could be like earn resin for completing these dungeons. The same thing with the tower mode. Perhaps after a certain amount of levels, like every 5th level or every 10th level or whatever, maybe we get more resin out of it. And then that would fuel us to be able to go do more stuff, perhaps get a little bit stronger, get a better artifact, and then perhaps go back in the Abyss tower mode and try to go further and deeper and last longer and earn even more resin to keep playing further. Don't make it exactly every floor you beat that you're gonna get a reward, because then some people are just gonna try to cheat and they're just gonna like do the easiest floor over and over and over and just get the resin out of there. Make it that like the farthest you made it is gonna reap your reward kind of thing. So if I beat floor 2000 and then I died, in order for me to get more resin, I can't just get to floor 1000. I have to surpass floor 2000 to earn more resin, continue where I left off. That's the only way I would earn more resin. I think that would be cool, and it would add a new level of like difficulty, a new challenge to the game that like people have been dying for. Not only that, but if you had some kind of like scoreboard so we could see like who is the top players in the world kind of thing, and that gives us an incentive to push harder and to like try to achieve further than we even want to, just to try to be the best or try to be better than everyone else. And then obviously the tower mode has to reset every now and then, just like the Abyss, which at the same time perhaps then you could reset the scoreboard. But let's tone it down a few notches from the ideas that you just heard. So next, some quality of life things you could implement into the game are like, can I please have a cow for my teapot Genshin? Even if I can't get milk from them, just the aesthetics of having a cow on my little farm. Like I know that may seem dumb to most people, but I desperately want that. As well as I want corn stalks, which I expected to be in that land, but where the heck are they? Another quality of life thing for the teapot is like, allow us to have like fruit trees. Like giving us these extra things would give the people that care about teapots like myself more to do, more to enjoy about this. Another thing is the screenshots we take. It'd be cool if we could put those screenshots that are saved in our folders and display them in the frames in our teapots. One more thing about teapots, like please Genshin, please give us bathroom decor. Give us a bathtub or a shower or a sink, even if it's just like a water bucket for indoors. Like please, my house needs a bathroom. One other idea you could do Genshin is like the artifacts. Like you did good making that little trinket that allows you to craft an artifact of your choosing, but this is still not going to give us perfect artifacts. Like we would still have to do this tons of time before we're lucky enough to get the absolute perfect artifact we want, but we have to wait a month each time to make a new one of that type. So maybe make another trinket or some other kind of system where we can like re-roll a specific stat in an artifact, no matter the cost and no matter the wait time. It's worth it to us. As for another like really crazy idea I had is like once we like get all the gnosis and we fulfill the original story that we set off on and we have already unlocked all of the map and stuff like that, what's the next step for our character? I was hoping that the main character, perhaps instead of just being a sword wielder, they then choose to embark on becoming a weapon master and like they have to learn each new weapon or something like that somehow. That way you're like a master of not only all elements but all weapons as well. I thought that'd be really cool and unique, and it would make some really weird combinations that you could do with the main character. But you would have to progress that far in the story to unlock your character to be able to do this. I thought that would be cool, but I don't know. Another thing is by the time we get to that point of the game where we've unlocked full gnosis, allow the main character to regain their ability of free flight. Like that would be so amazing to just be able to fully fly around without limitation. And obviously we would only be able to achieve that once we made it to that certain part of the game. And it would only apply to the main character and their sibling. Another thing that I've said in many of my videos, because Genshin's based on Gnosticism, is like technically each character should have to unlock every single vision. That's the way it's supposed to be. That would be really cool if like, you know, that's the next chapter is like trying to get everyone to ascend, trying to get everyone to unlock full gnosis. Like even Amber would have to get like cryo and hydro and dendro, and so would everybody else. Like that's crazy. Like that would give us so much more to do, and it will give us so many weird new combinations. So I definitely have no hopes or expectations for Genshin to implement that idea into the game at all. So there's one thing that I had expected Genshin to do for a long time, and they still haven't done it, which is like characters to come along that can like summon rainstorms or thunderstorms or sandstorms or snowstorms or make it sunny. Having these abilities in Genshin would be so cool. I just don't know why it hasn't been implemented yet. Anyway, those are a few of my ideas. I hope I kept you guys busy while Genshin maintenance is going on with, you know, actual Genshin content and, you know, Genshin brain candy, as that's when this video was released. However, even if you're watching this video late, I also wanted to test if anyone would even be interested in a video like this, as this is normal me, my rambling brain as I play. However, not only that, as honestly some of these ideas to improve Genshin had been on my mind for a long time. So what do you guys think about any of my ideas? Or what ideas would you propose to Genshin if you had their ear? You might want to speak them here, because you never know who's listening. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I hope to see you next time.